With just a few more matches left in the RBS 2017 Six Nations Championship, we're here to reflect on the last few weeks, but most importantly, look back on the last 15 years of the most amazing sponsorship of the RBS Six Nations. I'm joined with me by Andy Nicol, Tom Shanklin, Phil Vickery and Luke Fitzgerald to really reflect on their favourite moments over the last 15 years. So we're going to start with England. I'm going to start with you, Phil, if I may. Will Greenwood's 2003 try against Wales that set England on the way to their Grand Slam. What do you remember of that game?
Well, I remember that particular tournament because it was a bittersweet pill for me. It was my first back operation, so I was at home watching it with everyone else. And ironically, for those of us who obviously know Will, to talk about leg strength and Will Greenwood, they don't normally go in the same sentence. He scored a brilliant opening try. It's very simple. When he burst through, kept going. But I think ultimately, England playing against Wales, in Cardiff are always huge occasions.
And Tom, from a Welsh point of view, watching in, did you think that was a magic moment?
I was playing in it, unfortunately, and Wales were going through a bit of a transition period
again
at the time. Yeah, we had come off the back of a hammering by Italy, I think, in the first game. So it wasn't the greatest of games, and it's one to forget. But lucky enough, we've had plenty of good memories after that.
Talk us through this, Luke. One French player, Clerc, silent stroke park, by that last-minute winner, which is one of the favourite clips of the RBS Six Nations.
Oh, yeah. Painful memory from an Irish perspective. They had some incredible, bits of play. We looked like we were panicking a little bit. I think they're over on the right-hand side of the pitch. They make it up to our 22, and they swing the ball wide into Vincent Clerc's hand, and he ends up cutting us apart and scoring under the post to break Irish hearts.
And Tom, let's talk Italy. I mean, painful moments just for Wales, but Italy for their 2007 win over Wales. Talk us through this 77th minute try from Bergamasco and just the celebrations that you see afterwards.
Well, I was prepared because
we were on the bench again.
Yeah, it was. We had a new coach at the time, it was Gareth Jenkins, and we didn't really find that balance, and we weren't playing particularly well. And Bergamasco, they put a little chip over, and when you're close to your line, you don't have that 15. Covering all your 9. Your 15's more so looking for the crossfield kick, and there was a lot of space there. I mean, I try and jump as high as I can and charge it down, but get nowhere near it, and Bergamasco goes over. And there's a little bit more controversial activities after that because we're still in the game and we get given a penalty. And Gareth Thomas asked Chris White, the ref, do I have time to kick to touch and get a line out? And he says yes, and we kick to touch. And then Chris White blows up for the end of the game. So
you've obviously all your grievances today, yeah.
It's a good counselling session.
Tom, how do you sleep at night?
I'll come to you again. I'm trying to feel better.
I love the way he's playing in English, man.
So Luke, let's talk about 2009 Grand Slam, first time Ireland winning a Grand Slam for 61 years. Ronan O'Gara's amazing drop goal. Just talk us through what's happening on the field. What were you thinking?
Yeah, look, it was an incredible moment. I'd actually gone off a few minutes before it, and Raj, steps back into the pocket. Paulie O'Connell, of all people, was in the trenches and nearly got in the way of Peter Stringer's pass, so we were ordering him to get out of the way from the bench. And then when the ball went back to Raj, no better man.
Would you have stepped up to take it if you'd been on?
I'm not so sure. I think I would have been taking that into contact, maybe, yeah.
Tom, talk us through this. Wales' amazing comeback against Scotland in 2010. They were all but dead to the 80th minute, and Shane Williams scores under the post. Just reflections on that.
Well, I was actually on the bench that day. I was rested. I wasn't dropped, obviously. But it was just an incredible start by Scotland. Everything they did, seemed to work. They were scoring tries. They were clearly ahead, and it was just right down to sort of the last minutes, and Scotland actually have 2 players off at that time, 2 yellow cards off. Stephen Jones ends up kicking the ball, and you're thinking, what are you doing kicking the ball away? Because if you kick, there's a chance you can lose it. It's regathered, and probably the greatest player of our era ends up scoring a try, Shane Williams, right into the post. Still has time to put his hand up to celebrate. They might not have been in that position had I been playing, but again, I say that I was rested for the next week.
Let it go, Shanks. Let it go.
It's over.
Andy, we've been looking at great tries, but rugby's more about not just about great tries, it is about scrums, line-outs, but particularly tackles. So just talk us through this amazing try-saving tackle on England's Ben Foden.
Well, I mean, Chris Patterson is Scotland's top point scorer in the history of the game, but yet one of his highlights of his career was this try-saving tackle against Ben Foden. You know, when you see one player, a thoroughbred, you know, like Ben Foden, running with such pace that he was for the corner, and then another one coming over in the angle and putting in a textbook tackle in full flight, it was actually almost more exciting than the try being scored itself.
So let's talk about all our favourite team, the French, who we have got such a great history in the RBS Six Nations. And we're going to look at this try here through Harry Nordique. So I'll ask Andy if you could talk us through this, because it starts off with this incredible pass through Tranduc's legs.
Yeah, when France are on fire, there's nobody can stop them, and we've not seen as much as that in the last few years, Clive. But when they get it right, my goodness, do they get it right? And Tranduc, the ball through the legs, and it goes through a number of pair of hands, and then Harry Nordique finishes it. When Paris is rocking and they're playing rugby like that, the noise is phenomenal.
And Phil, something I never thought I'd see, which I'm delighted to see, Italy beating France. Talk us through this and the reactions of the Italians after Castro scores this amazing try.
Well, I think particularly for Castro, because he's been such he has been the pillar stone of that Italian team. And I can remember the first time I played Italy, I think it was '99. I don't know, it was a cricket score, whatever it was, and to see them come into the Six Nations and to get that win, and that first real big win, you know, it's just amazing. And the Italians are emotional. They're always difficult to play against, and delighted for them, because if we're going to be a competitive RBS Six Nations, then we have to have teams who can compete and can win big games.
The atmosphere in Rome that day, when they realised that they'd beaten their big continental cousins, was just phenomenal.
Stuart Hogg intercepts the Italy. Great movement, all going down, about to score. Stuart Hogg somehow makes this a miraculous interception pass, and the rest is kind of history. Talk us through that.
Yeah, the great thing about interceptions is that it could be a try for one team, and then if the player reads it very well, like Stuart Hogg does, suddenly it's a try down the other end for Scotland. And I think because it was deep in our own 22, when he first intercepted it, everyone cheered, thinking, well, we've stopped Italy scoring. And then he made one sidestep, and suddenly he was in open field, and he just put the gas down. And he's such an exciting player. He's just got better, and it's a brilliant way to give role models for the kids. They all wanted to be Stuart Hogg when he scored that try. So it was brilliant, very inspiring.
So Tom, this is just the anthems, which I guess anyone looking in from outside the RBS Six Nations would go, well, crikey, what's the anthems got to do with the game of rugby? But this is one of the favourite clips. So just talk us through. This was England coming down to Cardiff to win the Grand Slam in 2013.
Well, England were undefeated coming down to win the Grand Slam, and all the talk was on England. And Wales had lost the game in that campaign, and it was a lot of England players' first time at the Millennium Stadium, so they weren't sure really what to expect. Pre-match, it was like a festival. You know, they'd done such a good job with music, with pyrotechnics, with fire. And when the English boys went out, it was complete darkness. It was complete silence. And then they get onto the pitch and these fire cannons go off.
That was the first time ever I actually saw the anthems of the Welsh team who won like that, and I was like, England can't win this game, it's not going to happen.
But so you look at the players as well, when the camera's going across the line, and you've got Lee Halfpenny and his eyes are watery, you've got John Davis, you've got Alan Wynne-Jones who's swallowing the crowd as he sings. You know, you could tell, and often you can see this from anthems, you can see if the players are up for it by the way they sing and the emotion. It's about controlling that emotion, and yeah, they went on to narrowly beat England 30 points to 3.
30 points to 3, it's close.
Close win.
Andy, talk us through this Super Saturday.
I think it was a seminal moment, Clive, because there'd been a lot of debate up to that point about did we need a rule change to make the game more exciting. In those circumstances, in that last weekend, Wales went to Italy knowing they had to score a lot of tries to get ahead of Ireland and England in points difference. So then it was Scotland-Ireland at Murrayfield. Ireland knew they had to win by, I think, over 30 points to give themselves a chance, and they came out with that real attacking intent. And then when they got their nose in front, 27 points, I think, in front, England knew then what they had to do at Twickenham. And it just culminated in an incredible day's sport. I don't think you'll ever get anything like it. It came down to the last play of the last minute of the RBS Six Nations 15th game.
I have to say, I was at Twickenham on that final game, and I've never experienced Twickenham the atmosphere which was in the stadium. It was just truly tremendous.
And Luke, from a playing point of view, England have this amazing game and win, but they fall short and they don't get the ultimate prize of winning the championship. Explain what that must feel like.
We were on the other end of, I suppose, of that, having just won when they fell just short. And, you know, it just showed. It came down to the real fine margins. It was Jamie Heaslip actually had a cover tackle on Stuart Hogg in the corner. That ended up being a massive kind of moment. And it had kind of gone under the radar at the time. But that really was what won us the championship.
Just talk us through now, Luke. I mean, Jamie Heslip's try in 2016 was nominated Try of the Year from an Ireland's point of view. Just talk us through what happens here in this amazing victory over Italy.
It was just a real team try, and I think that was why everyone really enjoyed it so much. No surprise to me that Jamie Heaslip was the guy who finished it off. He actually, if you look at where he came from in the pitch, he comes from where the ruck is formed, and it was just inside the 22. You know, we were leading at the scoreboard at the time, so you know you can take a chance. And Johnny spots an opportunity, and they start to run it out. And I just thought some of the skill involved, the amount of people that touched the ball. I think Johnny got his hands in it again. They always say as an out half.
I think if we were trying to sell our game to somebody,
That'd be the game.
That try is everything which rugby can do.
So guys, there's some great memories, 12 amazing clips. Andy, Tom, Phil, Luke, thank you for joining us, and I hope everybody's enjoying the RBS Six Nations tournament as much as we are. Thanks again, guys. Great memories, and look forward to the next games.